One, two, three. Yeah. 111. Hey, how's everyone doing? We're back. Kevin Ritchie, right on time. Kevin, I've had some technical problems today. I always do. That's how the show. If the show doesn't start that way, then you know that's when something's wrong. No, today it wasn't too problematic. Here's my thing. I'm doing so many shows now that what's that? Okay. Make that work. I'm RB Kratz and Lori, how are you? No, it's a good thing. It's a good problem to have. I'm doing so many streaming shows that I keep switching settings. First off, everyone, can you just hear my voice? There's nothing else. There's no electronics and stuff. No extra noises. That's important. Let's see. Making sure. So we're on Facebook. We are on YouTube. Looks like. Okay. And we're on Twitter. Okay, great. So things are working. Yeah, I do so many things that I changed the settings, so it's cool though because I'm learning so much and how to do it quickly. Today was weird, something with Restream where it didn't reset. Anyway, boring. How's everyone doing? It's Monday, February 15th. I know this is an inaccurate number, but I was very proud. I was doing some housekeeping. Whenever I look away, folks, I'm just doing stuff on YouTube, trying to pull up Twitter, make sure it's all working. I was doing some housekeeping on some files and some videos and stuff, and on my YouTube channel, and I realized I've done about around 30 of these shows, which is crazy. I wish I had an exact number. There's a couple that are not on YouTube, There's a couple, but they around 30, which is just like, wow. But that makes sense, right? It's, more than half a year. It's getting to be a long time. And let's see, half a year would be like 26 weeks, right? And so, wow. Well, thank you. I want to start there. Thank you couldn't do this without you folks. We had a great audience that stops by. It's really fantastic. If one person was here, it would be a great conversation, my voice and your text, but still really wonderful conversation. And sometimes it's 50 people, sometimes it's 20, 30, but I really appreciate it. And I also appreciate those of you who've reached out to me and kind of said, hey, this has really reinforced something for me, and I was dabbling, and now I've learned some new recipes, some new ideas. It means a lot because as I always say, and I said this for over 15 years when I was in the natural foods industry, if you reach one person, just one person, then that's it. You made an impact. It's like that butterfly wings concept, right? Everyone knows that. I labor that point, as I often do. Everyone knows that one. But thanks a lot for being part of it. On that note, I've got a couple things that are new going on. Let's make sure I've got Facebook here so I can see your questions. Let's see, a couple comments. Good. Yeah, great. Kevin Ritchie's here. Kevin Ritchie, first in line today, which is awesome, bro. You're here before me. I'm often here. And let's see, half a year would be like, let's get rid of that. I'm here at 3:01, 3:02 sometimes when there's some technical glitch. But I have a new method of doing this, though, where I can go online and stream before it hits the anyway. So a couple of things to announce that I this is my first show at age 56. First of all, got my Corona fro. I'm ready to rock. But yeah, turned 56. There's a hair in my eye. Turned 56 last week, last Tuesday. So happy about that. Where's my tea? My errant tea. Here it is. Let's see. So nice job on the show yesterday. Thanks, Arby Kratz and Lori. I never know which one of you is speaking, so I always say both names. Nice job on the show. Thanks. That was you're talking about I did 2 shows yesterday and I attended another one. You're talking about the Paul Bilanowicz game show. Yeah, that was a blast. And really fun. I lucked out. I don't know how I really went in there thinking, man, I don't really know that much about Prague. But that was cool. I actually won on a couple non-Prague. Well, yeah, on the fringes of Prague, because I think Prague is a lot of things. But thank you. That was fun. I also did my own. I have my Patreon channel now, which I'm going to preview a little bit today and let people know. So yeah, I finally got the Patreon. Thank you to Paul Bilanowicz because he does such a great job with it, and so I launched that on my birthday last Tuesday. So today we're going to talk about it, and I have a feature level there for people into natural foods, natural life, where we're going to be doing some workshops right after this show every Monday. Kevin, video call with the doctor. Okay, great. Well, good luck with that. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. And Lori got first vaccination. Okay, yeah. I'm cautiously supportive of the vaccines. Of course, I'm pro-science, pro-vaccines, but yeah, cautiously on this one. Let's put it this way. I'm happy to wait my other 6 months or something that I have. Okay. Oh, Kevin, wow. Friend drove off a bridge. Wow. Oh, you're kidding me. I haven't found him. Sorry to hear that, man. Are you serious? I mean, that's of course you're serious. Just I haven't found him yet. Well, hopefully, hopefully he just swam upriver or something. Fuck, drove off the bridge. And that was an accident, I presume, right? Wow, sorry, bro. Hopefully that goes better. Wow. So what was I saying? Yeah, that knocks you for a loop thinking about tragedies like that. My Patreon. Yes, I just started with Patreon, and it's been great. And I did like let's say a soft landing, and he's gone. Okay, wow, they confirmed that. Wow, that's that's tragic. However it went down. A lot of loss this week, right? There was couple other people like in the public realm, Chick Corea, of course, and Joe Zawinul's son, Eric Zawinul, and there was someone else too. Just one of those weeks, So on the positive side, I launched Patreon, which has been fun. Just 1 week, so I invite you to be part of that. I guess let me start there. Let's take a look at that. So I've got see what we got here. I'll pull this up for you. So it's Patreon. If you can spell my name, it's patreon.com/Andre Chumley. I'll put the link right here, and we'll check it out together. Where are we here? Yeah. So, okay, here's the link. That's all right, Kevin. I mean, hey, it's life, man. It's So Patreon. Those of you not familiar with it, I just put the link up. It's a way to directly support artists and creative people and business people. I see all kinds of stuff in there. I've been checking it out and looking at different ways that people do things. But it's a lot of artists, a lot of creatives, a lot of all kinds of artists. You know, glass blowers, painters, sculptors. You know, people with that do different workshops and therapy. Um, some people just have a Patreon up there saying, "Hey, you know, uh, you know, I'm a mom with a couple kids and trying to go to school." All kinds of things. But basically, the idea for an artist like myself is we're out of, well, Patreon was around before we were out of work last year, but it's become acutely interesting to me. I've known about it for years. And one of my artists that I really like a lot, um, Amanda Palmer, if you know her, she's from the band Dresden Dolls, who I was into since, you know, in the 90s, you know, and then she split off, did her own thing. I bring her up only because even at her level, which is like a worldwide touring artist, she's got a Patreon site with 14,000 subscribers, and so the whatever size, I've got 10, and I'd love you to join. Is that and Sharon Lynn Baker? I see your name there. Thanks so much for the support. And 9 other great people supporting. And what it is a direct line to the artist. You're supporting the artist. My basic patron level is $5 a month. So it's like if you would buy me a beer or a coffee, here's a way to keep this going, to keep me going, keep the lights on, keep me creating. I'm doing live streams. I did my first live stream yesterday, and we'll look at a little preview of that. I did acoustic guitar, which I'm going to do every Sunday, a little acoustic concert. Coming up tomorrow, I've got a little hang where we talk about shows that I've worked, hundreds of shows through the years. But tomorrow we're going to explore an Adrian Belew concert from 2008 in Germany. And we watch it together, comments from y'all, and I'll break it down and talk about what was going on behind the scenes, and we'll just enjoy some music. But I've got a bunch of other stuff. I won't, you know, itemize it all right here. Just look at the website. But I've got workshops on guitar, electronic music. I've got some history stuff, and a lot of performances. There'll be 2 performances a week and a couple special ones per month. There's a Zoom hang in there. There's a couple different levels. But for folks here today, I've got one layer, and I'll talk about it in a second. That I'll talk about it right now, but I'll show it in a second. For people into natural foods, and kind of again going back to my '90s life when I was a natural foods professional and working with people day to day with this. So one of the layers of my Patreon, it includes all the music stuff. You get all the performances and the Zoom hangs and the coffee hangs and all the different stuff that you'll see on there. You get access to downloading my albums. You know, there's 1 up there so far, and there's 3 other albums going to be up by the end of this month. The other layer, though, for folks into the natural lifestyle, is doing a 1-hour workshop, group workshop, or however many people are there, Q&A kind of discussion, but face-to-face on Zoom. So like this, but next level on Zoom and chat at the same time. And I also do once a month a food prep. So there's a, kind of a live Q&A food prep where we pick a vegan meal and do preparation of it live. And then some other stuff that you'll see in a minute that's in there for natural foods enthusiasts. So let's take a look, actually. Where is it? Ba, 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 ba. All right. It's over here. Patreon. Here we go. So again, this is just started. I'm considering this as kind of the soft opening, you know, how they do that with a store. They kind of do the big, crazy opening, whatever, two weeks after they kind of open and kind of get the bugs worked out. But I feel pretty good about it already because, again, people are checking in and I'm communicating with my patrons and my buddy Paul has helped me through it. But in any event, this is what it looks like. I just put the link there. And, yeah, some silly pictures of me. But it represents, you know, the fun and what kind of what you're going to be encountering. So if you're interested, you can go in here and you know, find all kinds of stuff here and different. You know, I got letters going back and forth with folks. Here's kind of you know, the information on my different layers of people, and yeah, so I've got 10 people just starting out, and it's great. And this is the yeah, just, you know, I've got 10. 10 is awesome. I'll take it, you know, and it shows that that's $63 because they take a little percentage, of course, like of any of these things. But yeah, I've got a $5 level. I've got a $10 level and a $25 level. So there's a bunch of things you could do. Tom, what's his acoustic record called? This is a little sample. I can tell you what's on. It's line 6 actually. So we had a little discussion. Here's some of the weirder music I did. Some of it was more traditional. And then we had a little get a chat going with the people that are on. So that gives you an idea. All right. We did that one. I did that one over Zoom. That's not always going to be the case, but just experimenting with what works. But that was cool. I only had about 5 people watching, and 2 of them were on screen. So we went that way so that we could chat, and but most of the time it'll just be me and then a chat line, a chat column. So yeah, kind of a very flexible kind of platform. I love it, and that's just a little bit of a preview. As I said, there's a layer there of natural foods, consultation, and kind of detail that I'm offering, and that's going to be very one-on-one. So if you're interested, check that out. Let's see. There's another couple of links I'm going to share with you. Um, so yeah, Patreon, a whole new world for me. Let's see how it goes. Um, and yeah, finally, just to show you this one other part of the story. So here's when you go in. Here's kind of my membership levels. So the $5 level is that's awesome. How many people have jumped in on that already? And that gives you access to my Sunday streaming and to my guitar workshop and a couple other things. We're going to communicate, direct communication. And there's a Discord group that I'm setting up, which is another cool app for chatting in little groups. All of this stuff, I'm just seeing it. It's kind of an alternative to social media. It's a way to it's kind of social media, but it's kind of a group. Think of a Facebook group, but even more personal. And if you'd like to support an artist, it's a way to do it, and to be a little more face to face, unlike Facebook where it's all textual. So the basic $5 level I've got there. The $10 level increases your access to live streams. There's a couple tutorials. There's a monthly Zoom hang. A couple other things in there. You can go read it if you like. And then the $25 a month level gives you all of the above, all the music stuff, all the YouTubes, all the Hangouts, but also a weekly workshop on transitioning or optimizing a natural foods lifestyle. We're talking about some of the things we're talking about here, but again, more one-to-one, more detailed to what your exact interests are. And we do it on Zoom, so we're right there in 2 dimensions. One day we could sit in a room, but for now, live on Zoom, and then once a month, like I said, I do a live food prep, and that'll be all kinds of different plant-based foods, some raw food stuff, whatever, different soups, different Japanese stuff, but it'll be once a month a way to watch a meal preparation that I'll do live and some Q&A about it. And then also in that section of my Patreon, I'll do a whole thing called Vegan on the Road, which is going to be kind of 30 years of archival pictures, videos, stories about this journey, this kind of lifestyle on the road. And, and there's a few other things in there too. There's some direct Q&A platforms that are set up so that we can have this kind of discussion we're having now, but around the week. I mean, it'll be something I check every day. And for those of you in this layer, you get that, and you get that direct communication. So that's some of the stuff. And as I said, the videos are in there. I'll show you this one real quick. Greetings, folks. Thank you for checking this out, my new Patreon page. I really appreciate you stopping by. My name's Andre Chumley. I'm a musician. I'm a touring professional. That all went away in 2020, as you know well. And one of the things I'm doing is just starting from scratch and developing a lot of new avenues to reach friends, people who would be interested in supporting me musically and in my different ventures. So here we are. Check my page out. There's a couple different levels. The most basic level is the patron $5 a month level, which gives you access to live streams of performance. I'll be performing acoustic guitar, electric guitar, electronic music, songs, old stuff, new stuff, cool covers. But then I've also got a couple other layers that involve some workshops where I get into gear, building guitar tones, recording with new equipment that's out there. So check it out. There's a lot of different stuff for different levels of interest. And I've also got my other area of interest, natural living, natural life. I've got a tier that covers some workshops and some direct connection and discussion around optimizing your health goals and building your immunity, working on digestion, all kinds of different things. If that interests you, there's a segment there that kind of covers that. But otherwise, for you music fans, art rock music fans, prog rock music fans, fusion fans, electronic music fans, there's going to be a lot of content, a lot of stuff from my 30 years of touring, a lot of exclusive videos, pictures, stories, and a really special thing we'll do once a week where we watch a concert and talk about it and kind of review it together. And often it will be one of the concerts that I've been part of through the years with people like Yes and ELP and Eddie Jobson UK or Mo or Adrian Ballou or Al Di Meola. So just going to share some of those stories. That's one little segment of it. But most of all, I'll be continuing on my journey as a musician, playing music, writing music, and sharing it directly with you, the incredible 21st century audience. Thanks a lot. Everything you would want to find out is going to be in text around here. It's being added to almost every day, so please stay tuned, and I appreciate you stopping by. Thanks. So there you have it, folks, and thanks for checking that out. And so we're going to be building that over the next little while. It's a little scary. But, this is scary. I'm trying not to. Sometimes I've been honest about it, and I think a lot of people are. I curl up in a ball sometimes. I wake up, and if I'm not teaching at noon or something like that, it's like, fuck, man. The existential dread of this fucking thing going on for a few years. It's tough to accept, especially when your entire career depends on people in a room yelling and screaming and spitting on each other, and and sharing joints, and and guys not washing their hands in the bathroom. Hopefully that changes. If nothing else changes, how many million dead on the planet? Let's come out of this with guys washing your hands, please, leaving the bathroom. Don't lie. I see you. You're filthy. Stop it. Hopefully this has retrained some men, and some women too. I've got the reports. I've got some inside info that a lot of you ladies come right out of that stall and leave. Like, wow, there was my toilet paper was my barrier. No, wash your hands. All of you. So, hopefully this pandemic, we could celebrate that. But no, on the serious side, it's really dark. And my entire career for 20 years at least, for 30 years, it was half my career. I'm sorry, for about 10 years, it was a part of my career. I still had a day job till 2005. And so whatever that is, 16 years, right? 16 years, it's been 100% my career, but something like 30 years on the road, and it's gone. So I'm designing some new things, and this is one of the things. And you all know, most of you know me. There's a bunch of stuff. The interviews with Make Weird Music, but the Patreon thing is a way that I can go back to work in a way, because again, I'm writing music for it already. I'm coming up with different things. So please check that out. If you know anyone that's, if you know a sugar daddy or a sugar mama, and somebody who's a billionaire and they're just itching the, because you can write off some charitable stuff that's not tax free. I think there's a little percentage. Hey, hook me up, man. Just get me. Anyone know Oprah? Come on, Oprah can throw me $1,000 a month without even knowing. She won't even know that it, So anyone have some ideas? That rich lawyer, brother-in-law, or your sister owns a company? Hook me up. I'm generous with my time. Yeah, what are you gonna do? I mean, thank you. I try to be. Well, I'm a teacher, and so I love being around people, and I get as much when you're a teacher. And there's some teachers on here who know this. The main thing is that you're getting from it actually. When you teach kids, which I have for years. I've been a substitute teacher for over 20 years. Haven't done it in 2 years, but wow, there's one of my greatest educations is teaching kindergarten, preschool, even fifth, sixth, seventh grade, high school. They get a little sullen in high school. It's a little bit of a brick wall a lot of the time there. But I learn a lot. So likewise with this, likewise with my career in natural foods. Wow, you learn so much because if you're helping people and you're interacting and trying to optimize, um, in this case, a natural lifestyle, or in the case of music, if you're trying to optimize different things, um, you learn yourself. So I'm just looking around at lights flashing. There's no weird noises, right? You would have told me by now. Yeah. Nick Clemens, what's up, bro? Love you, bro. Nick Clemens, who I did my first touring with. I had just played around like the tri-state area in New York, but I went on my first out of state, out of the region touring, let's say, with Nick Clemens. We went out to California and did a bunch of shows oh my God, Nick, that's it was 91, right? 91, I think. So that's fucking 30 years ago. Jeez, you're kidding me. Was that 91? Yeah, I think it was. I'll tell you in a second, but let's get that because we should have done like a. Well, it's never too late because I think we were out there now in February. So let's do a Zoom reunion. Everything's Zoom now, right? But let's see. That was end of night. Maybe it was 92. Anyway, let me know. Line 6, yeah. Line 6 is badass. My vocals are kind of hot. Let's turn that down. Um, let's make sure we're in control of that. Ba ba ba. Let's try that. Are the vocals a little better? Let me know if the vocals got better. Got a little lower. Um, let's see. Tra! Benny is here. What's up, bro? Uh, Sharon says record club using Zoom. Okay, yeah, yeah. That's a pretty good. If you've um, got headphones on, it's a good way to have some. If you got headphones on, it sounds great. It's stereo. Let's see. Pushing sugar on Dre. That's great. Sanford, what's up, bro? Um, I know, right? You never know, dude. You're right. You're right. That's the funny thing on Oprah's show. You have things like that. Like she'll say, "A letter came into my office from this young lady in Tennessee, and she has a lemonade stand, and right, then she writes them a check." You're right. I'm kind of cynical, but it's funny. I'm pixelated. Okay. All right. So let's get to some food, folks. What did you have for lunch today? And I got some cool food pictures. But tell me what you had for lunch. Tell me that you can hear me. Okay. Um, vocals were great. Todd says. Are they not anymore? Because I switched things around because someone said they were hot. Um, Jerome, what's up, dude? Jerome, meet my okay, let's go up a little bit because I switched to where I can adjust it. So all right, I just went up a couple dB. Thank you, my engineer brother. Todd Reynolds, do you know Jerome? Please check him out and vice versa. Two dear friends that well, I've known Jerome since the 80s. Damn, it's really getting stupid. And Todd, I think we met not long, we in the '90s. Anyway, you both know a lot of friends. You both know a lot of friends in common, being musicians, being eclectic musicians in the New York, New Jersey area. But I bet I love drawing that diagram where you connect people. I bet it would be pretty easy to connect y'all, maybe through Bob Musso and all the records he did. Because if you go Jerome, Bob Musso, Bill Laswell, Sonny Chirac, Nona Hendrix, Whitney Houston, you know, pretty soon you guys run into each other. But why you should know about each other is the music thing. Um, Todd, if you need someone to lay down some Chapman stick, this is your man, and he's all set up with his Corona studio, and he's tracking over there in New Jersey, and just doing some great shit. And Jerome, check out Todd because he's amazing violin player, modular synth guy, so he loves all the synth stuff that you do. Um, but besides the musician thing, I know you've been talking about the streaming thing and musicians in that world. And Todd has got this incredible program that he's doing. Him and his partner Isabel level up your web presence, level up your streaming presence. I know I screwed the name up there, but it's about leveling up your presence on the web. Um, so I love it, and I always peer in there, and I've learned so much. And despite not having a green screen and having it totally tight, I'm working on it, Todd. But you know, I'd love you two to know about each other because a lot of crossover creativity and kindred spirits. Um, okay, awesome. So today, oh, what you guys are making me hungry. Todd had a kimchi rice bowl. Folks, when I look over here, it's just because that's where YouTube is. Kimchi rice bowl, peanuts, broccoli, sriracha mayo. Psh, sounds great. You know, that part of the world, they have it so dialed in, right? If you just want a light little thing. Um, um, oh, okay. And Jerome, we had gluten-free penne with diet cheese, sauce, and Beyond Burger. Great. That's the other thing too. The savory, tasty, just you know, stick to your ribs types of foods that people are coming up with in the plant-based world is awesome. Today we got something special, as you can see from the list. I'm doing a thing next week on plant-based bass players. Jerome, if you're around, I'd love you to jump in. But next week's going to be all about bass players. For some reason, I have a few that we're going to tag in. But Carmine Rojas is going to be at the center of that, and we're going to do a preview today and watch some of his interview that I just did with him. But no, it's exciting that you can travel anywhere now. You always could. You always could. I don't like to make it sound like we needed these corporations to create these foods. No, no. As we've talked about on this show many times, Leonardo da Vinci, many of the ancient Greeks were vegetarian. Many people in ancient Africa, early people in Islam, in Buddhism, in Hinduism, you know, had said, why are we killing animals? This is not a new idea. We got to really emphasize that. And I don't think we talk about that enough. I think there's a real perception that this whole thing is some kind of weird hippie thing from Woodstock era, or even some people that know a little bit more think it's from Jethro Kloss, Back to Eden in 1935. No, centuries, centuries of I think humans just ate what they could when we were a young species. We ate what we could, if you think about it, which meant if we could catch a mouse, we would eat it. We would go and climb up and steal eggs. Um, we found honey. We found a way to break open the honey hives, beehives. We ate worms and bugs and beetles. Of course, we it makes sense, and we kind of know this from the fossil record. But we also predominantly ate plants because we couldn't run as fast as a rabbit. We didn't have the fangs and the claws. We still don't to tear into a bison or something. As we developed tools and, of course, all kinds of ways to trap animals and catch them. Of course, we started more and more. That was an aspect of it. And then you get into agriculture and humans settling down in one area instead of being so nomadic. In fact, I love this subject, and I study it as much as I can. But when you think about grains, if you actually look at how recent grains are, because they have to do with humans moving around, being nomadic, being migratory. But once you started building cities and growing populations, and large agricultural events started happening, grains was kind of a natural thing, whether it's quinoa or amaranth in South America, or it's wheat and corn in the Americas, and um, similar things like wheat and barley in Europe, and you go around the world, rice in certain parts of the planet. We started um, cultivating agriculture. So I love that topic, but woven into that topic is, this isn't new. This isn't new. So okay, um, get back to some delicious lunch here. Uh, what do we have here? It's just so oh, okay. Snake yard shiitake mushrooms. Oh, okay, I didn't know that name, but love it. Shiitake mushrooms, crispy, crunchy seasons. Oh, I see. That's the brand. Whole Foods. Sharon has had oatmeal with chia seeds, molasses, pumpkin pie spice. Wow, that's great. A Danju pear. Uh, hey, Julia, what's up? How are you? Chapman stick, yes. Meg, how you doing, Meg? Meg, have you been hitting the beach? You always have those great beach fun pictures. I'm sure you're able to get out and get some exercise on the beach, because that's still safe to go out alone and get that good, positive ion air in the Jersey Shore. Good to see you. You had macro vegan samosa. Oh man, that is awesome. Yeah, give me some samosas. That's one of the few things we miss. Robin and I were talking about. There's a great Indian restaurant in town. It's incredible. And Sharon says Indian. Okay, great. Perfect. That's true. There's a lot of dairy in India, but you can find it. Wow, that's awesome. Um, okay, great. Okay, Jerome, I'll be in touch. So we'll have you jump in, and so I'll have four bass players next week. We could segue and talk about that. Um, uh, Antar Goodwin, another gentleman from New Brunswick, Ben Davis, who's a bass player, yoga enthusiast, keyboard player, and Jerome, and we're all gonna we'll be here next week chatting. But I'll also have the rest of this interview, and I'm going to play a little bit of it right now. So I've got my brother, Carmine Rojas. Love this man. Met him in the late 80s. And then we didn't see each other for 20 some years, and did a tour together about 3 years ago, something like that, about 3 years ago. Um, a lot of you know him from David Bowie, but he also was with, going back to the early 70s, he's with Labelle, played on, their um, their second or third record. Labelle, of course, as soon as you hear that name, you remember Patti LaBelle, who went solo years later. But Nona Hendrix, right? The great Nona Hendrix, Sarah Dash. So great band, a band that, you know, I'm always talking about people should go check out some of the building block music, but LaBelle was amazing, and kind of blended a bunch of different styles of music, right? Funk, soul, pop, rock. You know, they weren't calling it disco yet in '73, but some of the funkiness that evolved into disco, but a lot of hard edge stuff, a lot of great guitar playing. Um, and they opened for the Who and all these other bands. So Carmine was in that band, toured with them for years, and then he went on to do all kinds of different session stuff. David Bowie is where most of you first heard him on the radio, and then he did over 15 years with Rod Stewart, still with Rod. So anyway, that's kind of his music world. The past 10 years, he's been a plant-based guy. It helped him with some health issues. So I'll let him tell his own story, of course, but that's just kind of the thumbnail, as they call it. So we're gonna watch a little bit of that in a minute, kind of a preview. Um, yeah, Nona Hendrix, exactly. Um, and let's see. Try something surprise. This 10 not process. Yeah, Todd, that's you know, that's a point that you I emphasize or reinforce, or I would repeat that over and over. And I say that every week. You've got these items that I celebrate sometimes, and I always am very careful to point out, hey, Green Giant has this new vegan thing with Gardein sausage in it, or you know, uh, what's the other company? I can't remember. That's how important they are to me. There's Green Giant. What's the other one? Anyway, um, it's amazing. But I always point out, yes, I don't want you to go fill your freezer with all these boxes and plastic bags of stuff. But they are useful, and we do live in a consumer society where you are going to have those things once in a while. So, but to your point, Todd, yeah, it's about making food from scratch, doing things as much as you can. Um, um, but it's wonderful to know that to make traditional meals like stuffed peppers or you know an English breakfast or something with the tomatoes and the mushrooms and the sausage. You can do all of that now, and it's really getting to be blindfold test level with some of this stuff. It's really getting crazy. So so yeah, that recommendation for field roast sausage is true. I agree. And yeah, and that's the important thing. And as you know, also there's no pressure on this show that people have to pass a certain you know test or litmus test. Just give me 1 day a week of meatless, and that's kind of the goal of this show. But as you know, but I always have to say it because there's new people all the time. I welcome pescatarians, lacto, ovo lacto. I welcome people who are flexitarians. That's kind of a recent word. I welcome people who are just they're like, yeah, I eat meat twice a week, and great. That means 5 days. You don't, um, if we had that more. Bill Gates was on 60 Minutes last night, and with Anderson Cooper, who I didn't know was on 60 Minutes, but it was cool. They were talking about all these new projects, and they went to a burger joint, and I thought, really, like it's 2021, but okay. And I said, but let me hear him out, and sure enough, they got burgers and fries, and they got into a discussion about the potatoes, right, and shipping them across the country because it's all types of food, not just meat, but it's predominantly meat because animal agriculture is at the top of the pyramid. It's the top, folks, using the most water, the most soil, creating the most pesticide leaching into our, go look this up. Go look up how much pesticides have leached into the Gulf of Mexico that comes down the Mississippi. And they've traced it right back. It's coming from all these farms that are growing way more wheat, way more soybeans, way more corn because we're feeding this to animals. So this is direct. This isn't like some theoretical, crazy conspiracy type stuff. This is 1, 2, 3 steps, and we can see the effects of a high industrialized animal protein um, agriculture with the amount of pesticides we need and how it goes right into the ocean. Yes, some critics going to say, well, there's pesticides on vegan food too. Of course, there's non-organic vegan food. Of course, we push to demand organic, and that's happening incredibly. A lot of these foods tend to be organic, and we push for local. Really, folks, try to just as much as you kind of decrease animal protein, try to increase local food. So I say it all the time, but if we can add all those little pieces together, we see an effect. But Bill Gates, which is what I was saying, uh, and then I interrupted myself. Bill Gates remarkably spoke about Impossible Burger, and he talked about this new myco protein, like a mushroom based protein that he's invested in. And they showed it, and they make yogurt and they make sausages out of it. So I was blown away. This is 60 Minutes last night. Bill Gates, folks. Bill Gates. And I emphasize that just to say, here's one of the richest motherfuckers on earth, and it's in his brain, and he's doing something about it. So if you care to pull up, on YouTube or something, and again, they showed this mushroom stuff that they grow in a tray, and they showed how mushrooms, the protein, can be used in so many different things. And him and Anderson were trying it. Anderson tried this yogurt, and he says that's good. He says I've had soy yogurt, I've had cashew yogurt, and this is similar. It's just great. He was eating it, um, and so this is great news that we're figuring out solutions. Let's just stick with it. Um, all right, so I'm about to go into this video of um, Carmine Rojas. Yes, into the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, look that shit up. They do some satellite. What do you call it? Spectral chromatography. I think that's what it is. Where they can. It's a special photography where you can see the chemical composition. But they show you this plume coming out of Mississippi and shaped like this because it just naturally goes. And it's all in the Gulf of Mexico. It's affecting the algae. It's affecting the pH of the water. It's affecting the whole food chain. Pesticides, pesticides, pesticides. So we can have fucking $1.99 burgers. Yeah. A burger should be $10. That way you're attaching the actual value of what it's doing to the earth. All food should be a little bit more, but that's another story. Um, Mushrooms are life. Yes. Sharon, no meat since '83. That's awesome. Um, and mushroom kits they're fans of. Yeah, that's a good question. Todd, you know who the expert is on this? Look up on Instagram. Myco Loco is the guy's name. See if I can pull it up. It's a guy named Noah Kalos. If you look him up, NoahKalos. Look up Noah Kalos. Again, with the friends in common. He used to work at Make Noise Music, and he doesn't work there anymore. But he now does um, uh, what you call it, modular music using mushrooms. So he's dived. He has dove or divin or dived. What's the past tense of diving? He's dived. He's dived into this. Here he is, and he's got this stuff that senses. Here's one of them right here. He clips these things onto mushrooms, and the mushrooms play the modular synthesizer. Anyway, my point is he's been growing mushrooms like crazy. So if you check him out and he cooks them, he shows, different mushroom. There's his gluten-free mushroom. I invited him on this show. He's a dad of two young kids, and Mondays are crazy for him. But we're trying to figure out how to get him on the show on a recording. But look at this. He's got all this stuff with mushrooms. So he's very knowledgeable. Look at that. He's growing lion's mane mushrooms and shiitake, and he's it's kind of out there. He has these mushrooms communicating with each other. Of course, the obvious question is, which mushrooms did you snack on, young man? But anyway, that gives you an idea. Definitely, here he is. He looks like, in a good way, one of the fabulous furry freak brothers. Remember them? Here he is with a bowl of mushrooms. He's making mushroom jerky. So that's your guy, Todd. Also, totally your guy on modular stuff because he's really good synthesist. So, okay, great. So, thanks for that question because, as you know, that's how this show rolls. If there's an interesting question, it's a great way to launch off to another topic. So, Let's see. All right. Well, without further ado, let's go into our little preview. Let me set this up, and we're gonna just watch a little bit of this interview with the one and only Carmine Rojas. And I consider this a preview because next week we'll see the rest of it. It's probably, how long is it? I don't know, 45 minutes long or something, but we'll just see about 20 minutes right now, maybe, or something. But feel free to comment. I'll be watching it with you. But here we go. I know, man. It's been a minute. It's been
Oh, it's been absolutely fucking crazy.
a couple years. It's been, yeah. How are you doing, man? You're surviving this?
Yeah, but it's not natural for us to be not sociable.
Stuck in
I'm sorry, man. I know we're stuck with, but we had to do it. We have to obey the rules, with our new president, I mandate the mask, all of it. I've been good for the whole year. I just got my first shot
Tell me how the
last week.
volume is.
Okay. Waiting for the second shot at the end of the month.
Okay.
But it's just been the whole year. I mean, I've been zooming in a lot, or
Yeah.
we're over the Foo Fighter studios where they have nurses and doctors doing TV stuff with Billy Gibbons and kind of doing these Guitar Legend projects.
Right.
And but we get tested. We wait outside, wait 20 minutes, and it's all cool. Then we go in and work.
Oh, so this is going to be the new thing, man.
I hope not. I hope.
But no.
Well, I hope not, because I miss hanging with the crew.
Of course. Yes, I hope it's a temporary thing, and we all want to get back. And if people, one of the things I've been spending a lot of time is looking at the one from 1918. Have you read some about that?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that was pretty deadly. And the soldiers came back home after the World War One, WW1, and brought a lot of that shit with them.
Yes.
And part of the Spanish American War. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
A few of us. I mean, because us veterans, who's been in the game for such a long time.
Yeah.
Survivors of us like us. And I mean, you have to give credit because we put the dues in. I mean, we really, the years on it, so we know that we've been there, and we actually, that's why we end up surviving, because we end up ducking and diving like fucking catches of clay.
Exactly.
Muhammad Ali,
It's true. It's true.
Possible, and still try to keep the level, the quality of what we do. Still try to keep it up here.
That's it. That's it.
No, it's very important.
It's true, man. No, well, I'm glad you're able to work and get out and do some stuff.
Can't get out much, but but there's been a couple of really nice surprises, but and probably because I'm in Los Angeles, because a lot of us live out this way, which is pretty helpful. But we just can't hang out. We can't we can't do anything.
And you do? Are you doing some sessions at home? Are you doing any?
Yeah, here, and then a studio, a couple of friends of ours, studio.
Okay.
You just fall down. Oh, that's okay.
That's great.
Yeah, it's just not much, not much really. Saved enough funds to always to be careful of these moments in time, because there's a lot of them.
That's true.
And there have been a lot of them, but this was really unexpected.
Yes, and
it wasn't because of health. It wasn't. It was just another element just came in.
Nature.
Yeah. She that's her. I mean, you can't mess with her.
I've been obsessed with looking at all these YouTubes. I've been looking at stuff back to the Egyptians, the Black Death, all these plagues.
Sumerians or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and you realize the things they called plagues, often it was viruses.
Exactly. Right. I agree. And that's why we had to really be careful with, the strength of the sun and melting the snow and the ice, because what's underneath the snow and all that stuff, especially like up in Siberia and all that stuff, this shit's been sleeping dormant for quite some time.
You're right. They have found that. No, you're right. And it's funny you say that, because I just read the other side of that in some of the expanding African economies, which is great. We want Africa to have new, good economies. But in some of these places, I think it was
better leaders.
Better leaders. Yeah. And it's slowly happening. But in some of those cities, I think Kinshasa was the one in Zaire, as they encroach and go bigger and bigger, they're going closer to these jungles where no one has been, and all these animals have viruses. They have, and so we we got to be careful.
Yeah, same thing in Java and the Aborigines in Australia and places in South America. You know, there's been no humans around, and once they get there, they bring the sickness in. Like they did, same thing with Columbus when he came to Puerto Rico. You know, back in 1492, he put a lot of shit back with him. It was like seeing, it's like the first time, and I was already a fan of Mahavishnu Orchestra in '72.
Right.
And it was seeing it live, completely different. It was like, it's like Armageddon. It's like, you know, yeah. There was a festival in Puerto Rico, first ever rock festival in Puerto Rico, and the Allman Brothers, Mahavishnu, Jake Al's band. You know, it was Billy Joel when he first came out. It was a combination of so much crazy shit. Yeah, he was just starting. Yeah. You know, he was mimicking Joe Cocker. He was doing all these mimics stuff, which he was pretty good at it for the first album.
Yeah.
But I was working at the photograph pit. I was giving people, they can only shoot for the first 3 songs, and I had to get them off. Okay. And I got a job there because I snuck in the back.
Okay.
You know, at this campground outside of San Juan. And so it was called Marisol, you know, ocean and sea.
Yeah, I read about that. Okay.
Yeah. And so I'm in this photo pit, and the stage level is like up to my chest. So, you know, I have to kind of crouch down, get everybody out, photographers to shoot up. And Mahavishnu came on. I went, oh, this should be pretty good. And I see Billy Cobham and the guys. I'm going, okay. And when he started playing, I went, what the?
What is happening?
What is it? Again, this is from another planet. And it was so heavy and so like it was like the end of the world or something. You know, it was just coming at you. The songs like Hope and all different kinds of things. Like, wow, what in 7 and 5 before I could even figure out what 7 and 5 was.
Right.
And it was, and we were on tour with Labelle, with Eddie Martinez.
Yeah.
Rossi, who went to Weather Report. You know, we had a gang with the Labelle gang, which is, again, that schooling was amazing to be with Labelle. And then we had a lot of tours, a lot of rock bands. You know, we opened up for The Who. You know, we did Earth, Wind and Fire, Danny Hathaway, Curtis Mayfield. We did always a combination because Labelle's manager, they would always put us on an English rock tour or with the big R&B acts.
Right.
So we got to see a lot of stuff as kids, you know, and we never slept because we didn't want to miss anything. I never lived in Puerto Rico. I would go and visit all the time. And that's 72 was a festival. Mom and I would visit friends and cousins, and we got a lot of family down there. So we go down there, and then the festivals that came up, and it was supposed to be and like a Thanksgiving show or whatever, but then it ended up being the year after. And I went, Mom, we should go down there, go visit, you know, like cousins and primos and everybody else.
Okay.
Down there, she came with me to the festival. She hung for the day, and then she hung back at the hotel. 3-day festival down there. And again, I would go back in every now and then. I went back as a roadie too for Sly and Feather Stone when they first came to Puerto Rico with Andy Newmark on drums.
Right.
Larry Graham just left. Greg Rico just left. Yeah, it was Rusty Allen was on bass, taking Larry's place, and it was Andy Newmark.
Right.
In time, you know, that shit was just deep. And I helped them out, showed them around the restaurants in Puerto Rico, the different parts of the island.
Right.
Took them out to dinner. We got in a cab and told the cab driver in Spanish, "Take us where you eat." And he took us to deep.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was great.
Well.
And like you and I, once we leave the country, go places like, you know, like maybe Beirut or Dubai or any Arab countries or any Middle Eastern countries, when you taste this shit there, you know, it's like, what was I eating before?
I know.
It's real, you know. I got taken to there's a girl I work with who's Lebanese. She's a pretty famous singer there, and we went to do a festival for her, you know. And she liked my band that had like this flamenco rock band, and we were part of her band.
Yeah,
we were part of her band. And she says, "You want to come to Beirut?" I said, "Yeah, we can get in. I'm down with it." She said, "Well, it's not really that much." I said, "I don't care about the money. We can get in, passport, you know, airport, nice hotel, rehearsals there. I'm in." She says, "Really?" I said, "Yeah. Well, why wouldn't I be in?" And she was really gracious. She put us on a poster and everything. It was fantastic.
What's her name? So we can.
Mesa Cara.
Okay, Mesa Cara.
I'll read Mesa Cara. She's just an amazing. She sings 4 different languages.
Nice.
She works at Berkeley in Dubai now.
Oh wow. Okay.
She teaches in Berkeley, Dubai, but she was living in Los Angeles from Beirut, and her family took us out.
Right.
And it was, again, just special food, special places. I'm not a dessert guy, but I couldn't get off. I was like a junkie.
Yeah, because it's good. It's real.
It was the best dessert stuff, sweets, and whatever they were using was so rich and so fits the palate.
Right.
And the way they make the foods or whatever. And we would take it all around the city and up north a little bit below Gallipoli. And it was we were there for a week, rehearsed for one show, but we were there for like 8 days and did an outdoor show. It was fantastic. But again, Mediterranean food is actually healthy.
It's the best.
It's the best. It really is. It's absolutely stunning because it's natural ingredients going into your body. But it's the desserts were killing me, man.
Yeah, no. Well, and at least those desserts are usually honey and pistachios and kind of
combination. And it was their uniqueness, like the stuff that came from Lebanon. Yes. It was their thing. Because everybody Greek has one. Everyone has their thing.
Sure.
They add to it or not add to it, and it depends how it grows in that country. It's really not that long ago. It could have been probably 6-7 years ago. I was having problems breathing. Somehow oxygen level kept staying low. So it's either, first thing, I was born a month premature. So the doctor said I was going to have problem with my eyes and my lungs. And he was right. He was absolutely right. Because to this day, I can't see shit. I can't breathe. But God bless that dirty bastard. Yeah. So I was really having problems breathing, having full oxygen, and it was something that I was eating. I was diagnosed wrongly. I mean, there was some stuff where you have allergies that you shouldn't be eating or whatever. They said I shouldn't have shrimp. Tell a Puerto Rican not to have shrimp. It's like you shoot them in the head. Seafood stuff. You can't do that to me, brother. But it was a combination. So. We took a lot of tests this time for real because I could not understand why I didn't have enough oxygen level to run with my little dog,
Yeah.
So I just decided to change my diet, and I was a lot heavier too. So changing the diet helped a whole lot, and somehow I had much more space in my lungs, even though I will always have asthma because I grew up with asthma. But the plant-based thing really helped. So somehow it just sharpened everything.
Yeah.
And I had to really be careful because touring in Europe, this stuff is, the promoters, they overfeed you like in Italy. Yeah, exactly. When you're going to go, or when you're going to go on.
Oh, yeah, all day.
Like, no, I can't eat that now because I'll be dribbling on stage. And every time you go, I'll do a little bite. And it's just, this stuff is so good in Europe. It's all natural based. And it really, the grounds, and they're very, very, very careful, a lot more than America.
Yeah.
With chemicals and everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the plant-based thing is I do cheat because it's okay if I cheat, once a month or something.
Sure.
But the way I cheat is very light. So
what would you have? Some fish or something, or some baked chicken or something?
I could do fish. So fish doesn't bother. Shrimp bothers me. It's supposed to bother me. So I keep away. But I could do fish and salmon and everything else.
Okay.
I have to be careful of baked stuff.
Sure.
Like the old days of the chicken and the grill and all, like grandma used to make.
Yeah.
Now I would suffer hardly, but if it's once a year, I don't mind going down.
Yeah. Well, so you feel it, right? I have,
and you do, and I do feel it. I feel sluggish, but at 76, 67 now, I'm just kind of I'm feeling really good. And it's interesting that it really does work.
Yeah. No, it does. It does.
I have it's a lifesaver that people probably already know this. It's with that apple vinegar. What's that drink?
Apple cider vinegar. Yes.
Now that's really helpful if you do it every night. Whatever you're eating, whatever you have, even if you cheat, it does such a cleansing on you.
Right.
I'm not sure why, but I always know it's been around for years. You know, grandma remedies and all that kind of stuff. And it's really helpful to do just a couple of shots of it in a glass of water.
Sure.
Because it really does, it does what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And it doesn't lie.
No, you're right.
Apple cider vinegar that should be in every stable, every house.
You're right, man. And I've been bad. We somehow have it on a salad here and there, but I got to get back to having it every day because I'm trying to.
Water because it's nasty.
Yeah, it's intense. It's intense. I
keep putting a little bit more of it. I'm like, oh.
It's intense. That's why I mix it with olive oil and make like a dressing. But you're right. It's got, people that don't know this, please look up apple cider vinegar, Bragg's Organic, or any of these other.
It's really, really helpful. And that's actually saving much more than the actual foods.
Yeah.
It helped break this. It helped break stuff down a lot easier in my system. I have to kind of sit and look back because I've met him so many different times and I've seen so many different of his bands, and been in a room, him talking, having speeches, and being such a master as a teacher and instructor, and
architect, right? I mean, just we can use so many words.
It's hard to find because he's one of those masters. He really is. And I'm so grateful that I'm such great friends with Mike Garson.
Oh,
I'm with him basically all the time, and he's a funny guy, like an old Jewish guy from Brooklyn, my Hebrew National best buddy, and we share a lot together, and it's just the energy that he has. Yeah, he wears people out, but he's, again, you keep going, you keep reinventing, you keep doing this, you keep playing with different people. Yeah, he does, from Smashing Pumpkins and the combination is amazing.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you brought up. What's cool is you're jumping around all my notes, which is great.
Give me another one.
Mike Garson, right there. But we can jump there and let's talk about that for a minute, because the one time that I worked with you we did the Celebrating David Bowie, and it was so cool. And what was cool there is we had quite a few vegetarians and vegans, so we were able to order all this great stuff, and
it was available to us because Europe was on top of it already, and the promoters were really helpful. Great. And we were really cool with what we wanted. We didn't overstress, like going off. We were all very cool with it.
No, it was great. And Mike's been on that journey for many years, right? He's
been very quiet, but he's another one. He's just very special, not a special eater, but a good eater.
Good, yeah.
And we have it on the rider if it's possible to have this. If not, then we're cool with it. Don't spend that extra money on stuff that we don't need.
That's the thing.
They're very, especially the Europeans. They were really, they honored the rider really well. It was fantastic.
It was great. People don't believe it when I tell them, especially places like Germany and Holland. When you tell them, and you're like, "No, man, it's the best. They bring us everything, and it's not weird to them." They have.
Well, it's not. It's funny because Italy, because all the gluten stuff, whatever, they've been on a non-gluten stuff for a long time, because a lot of people have allergies.
True.
And they were very much aware of it. So the supermarkets have tons of that stuff. They have like their own Trader Joe's and whatever, Whole Food, or what's the other one? My favorite one that I always go to.
Aldi.
Follow your heart.
Oh, Follow Your Heart. Yeah.
That's my favorite. That's my all-time favorite shopping place.
In LA, right?
Yeah, in LA, yeah.
Yeah, a friend of mine works there. Yeah. No, you raised some great points there, because the other thing too, I study a lot of food history, and they made pasta out of different things back centuries ago. They used barley instead of wheat, or they used lentil flour. That's not new. That's not new. Did you know in the 1300s they were using almond milk in Europe? Did you know that?
Yes.
You knew that.
Somebody else told me that. Somebody in Amsterdam told me that. That's funny. Yeah, they would have to, because it's all organic, all natural.
They knew. And so a lot of people think this stuff is hippie stuff from the 60s. No, man.
That's been around for a long time. It has a full foundation of they grew and plant everything. People had to eat. They have fields of that stuff. Sicily, they have tons of different things that they would have.
Have you played Antarctica yet?
No, just watching it from the plane.
Okay. Oh, you flew over it?
Did you have reindeer?
What's that?
Did you have reindeer?
Reindeer? No, did I eat reindeer?
Yeah.
I never have. No, have you?
Oh, no, not yet. Actually, I think I have in Iceland maybe, but I don't. It was something like reindeer, or maybe they were lying to me.
They have, yeah, they have some. They do eat reindeer there, but no. I was just saying, did you ever play in Antarctica? But
No.
every
It's
other
one of the few places, in South Africa. One of the few places I haven't been to.
yeah,
I've been to Africa a lot, but never South Africa. It was always
okay.
3 times, whatever. I've been to a lot of other places.
Yeah, every other continent, I'm sure. Australia.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. Even deep places like above Tibet and China, that whole area up there, and northern India, which a lot of bands don't go to, but there are a lot of bands there, or borderline with Afghanistan. There's a lot of strange places. Persia had a lot of places too.
So since you've been, a predominantly plant-based life, 7 years or so, is there a place you've been where it's
10
like
years now? Yeah, 10 years.
10 years? Is there a place you've been where it's just really, really tough, or do you just find your way no matter what? Is there any place you can say?
I would actually, Russia would be interesting. Once we go off, once you travel outside of St. Petersburg or Moscow, it gets a little hairy. But I'll still find something that I can do. So I keep my stomach small.
Right.
So I'll make my little sandwich or something, or keep it basic. And I always travel with the apple cider vinegar with me.
Yeah.
Because they have little bottles, you could travel bottles with and stuff like
Right.
that.
And
just in case.
Just in case. And do you travel with like some almonds and a few bars or something? Do you have a few?
I pick the stuff up there, and then when I'm in Europe, I'll pick little bags of little treat, stuff I can nibble on.
Yeah.
Fruits and vegetables and stuff. Depends on the country. I have backup. I always have a little backup of something,
Some spirulina.
This thing called yes, exactly. Or this thing called 8G, number 8. It's like a tablet you put in water.
Oh.
And it gives you all the vegetables you need.
Okay. I'll
I have to show you that. 8G.
I love what you said. I'm going to keeping your stomach small. We don't need as much food as people think.
You don't. The size of your fist is what I think the rule is, because that's really the size of your stomach. It's your fist.
It's true.
I think that's what it is. And and you can tell if you overeat something. When something's that delicious, you want to kill it again. But you have to discipline. You have to really be careful of different foods in different countries too, and the water. So you always have to be very conscious of all stuff around you. But I tell you, if you ask me which country blows my mind still, it's Italy.
Yeah.
Up north, south, middle. It just the food is consistent up and down, different. It's like, and I love Amsterdam and I love Germany, whatever. But something about Italy, they got it down.
Yeah.
The French have good food and whatever, but sometimes a little too greasy or oily. But the Italians, the sort of pastas in the different regions and this and that is phenomenal. How that country, no wonder it's still alive, and people aren't fat.
Well, that's the thing. They walk a lot and they're eating this fresh, leaner food. Right. And even the pasta, because I don't feel great on wheat. I have it.
Exactly. Me too.
We talked about that on the road. And but if I have pasta in Italy, it's like it's a completely different thing, right?
It's where it's grown and where it comes from.
What's up with that?
Yeah, it's organic. It really is organic. And if you don't easy on the creams and all the kind of stuff, but you can actually taste the food.
Yeah, no.
The food, in your gums and your tongue or whatever. It's like, wow, that's interesting. You look around going, I didn't think I would like that. And you're like going, oh, okay.
I've heard that the volcanic soil and all that is a big part of it.
They substitute a lot of stuff because that's why you have stew. Sometimes when they don't have, if like most places, like you said in Puerto Rico, if we're out of food or something, you put what's left over into the pot.
Right.
It's a stew, a combination that comes up to be an invention.
Right.
And every country has this sort of stew.
That's true.
Hungarians, soup, the goulash and stuff like that.
Great.
But you don't really have to seriously, you don't really have to eat meat. And and we were never born to eat meat in the first place.
Wow.
I think that's that's the origin of the caveman stuff of that. Yeah, the canines or whatever. But we don't bite down like animals do.
But we don't, we don't have fangs, no claws. The stomach acid is all wrong. All kinds of things.
Yeah, exactly right. And it doesn't break down those kind of foods. It just happened over the thousands of years that our bodies seem to, with the DNA, kind of got used to it.
But have we? But have we got used to it? I don't know. We have digestive problems,
right?
colon cancer at an unbelievable rate in the 21st century. What are we doing? The heart disease, right? The blocked arteries, the cholesterol issues.
And again, it's the food. It's the food you eat. I mean, that's why poor people used to eat better back in the day than they do now.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
The less have-nots. Because it was organic, it just grew in the backyard.
That's it.
And the backyard, and the drag of it is you have to make so much to give to the warlords or whatever.
Right.
And it would really hurt the families, and we have a lot of greedy people over our lasting time here on Earth.
It's true. And of course, to be clear, because some people are going to say, "Well, you're blaming." It's not just the meat and animal products. It's the processed food and carbohydrates and artificial.
Absolutely right. Exactly.
A list of things
that's available to us that shouldn't really be available to us, but it's marketing, it's the money, it's the business. It's a whole crowd of people who do what they do.
Sure.
What they do. So the best thing you could do is avoid it as much as possible and really be conscious of what your body's saying to you.
Yeah.
You can tell. You can see in your eyes, you can see in your skin, you can see the way your behavior patterns.
That's right.
Food will let you know. If it's something you're not supposed to be having, your body will tell you.
It surely does. And hydrogenated oils, all these things. We had some great talks on the road about all the things you have.
Exactly.
You don't touch that shit. On that note, man, dude, you look younger than you did with Bowie on some of those videos. People look, they're like, that's not the same dude. You look younger, man. And it's so inspiring because it really shows what you've done in the last 10 years. You've turned back the clock, and all the stuff you see in these books, people say, stop the aging process, slow down. Thank you, bro, because you're an inspiration. You saved your life, possibly. You got yourself help.
Yeah. Thank my grandmother, because she was a high roller with organic foods or whatever. My grandmother with the spices and the herbs and all this. Going, what's all this shit in the house?
Right.
It's her schooling.
Okay.
And then I got away from it. Because I went on my own. I started growing up and traveling on my own. But it's funny that I come back to my mom and I would come back to all the stuff my grandmother used to make and tell stories about. And my mom and I just laugh and going, didn't grandma say not to touch that? Or did she say you should have more of this? And my mom and I would be laughing, cracking, going, grandma was always right. And she was.
That's
old school.
That's beautiful to hear, because that puts it back into the, over a century ago. Hierbas and all the good.
Back in the dirt.
No, that's great. So you have that. Talk to me about your workout regimen, though, bro, because you look great. You're fit.
No, I don't. I'm just built like a Puerto Rican.
That's it. Come on, man.
I don't. I think my body structure is going back to what it was when I was 40 years ago or more. Just because I'm losing a lot of the fat, and it's getting tense, and I walk a lot with the dog.
So you're not in the gym, and you don't have a whole list of.
This is all this up here is from the bass thing. All those years. Playing, because there's the muscles here, and then you got different muscles, because I have different muscles for different things. And one of my fingers, my left hand fingers are longer than my right hand.
Yeah,
these have been stretched over the years, going over the neck with the guitar.
Wow.
And these guys are a lot stubbier. You can see the thinness of it.
Yes, that's crazy. So it's just good genes, a good grandma, and turning back the clock.
An awesome grandma, yeah, and just really being conscious of your body.
Yeah,
your mind and your body is, by meditating, by just really loving the taste of certain things. It's like going back to old school, going back to as a kid growing up, and you taste little things, and you put your hand in the pot, she slaps your hand, whatever. It's just the organicness of going back to the past.
That's it.
And even though now on the planet, our own planet, the soil in a lot of places are not the same. You know, the soil back then was, you could still regrow stuff.
Right.
We're having a really hard time
Yeah.
in a lot of places that the soil is just not working as it used to, because we overdone it. We just killed the
Chemicals.
crap out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No,
exactly.
that's well, we're turning it around. We're turning it around. So, okay. So that's interesting. So, folks, of course, talking to Carmine Rojas, you know that, and you know this name too from so many of your musical experiences. Whether it's, of course, everyone knows the David Bowie years.
And I think it was the first day we actually met, because originally now it was a Monday, but Friday, now Rogers called us separately. I don't know who he was calling, to show up in the studio to do some demos for him. So I show up that Monday, and we didn't know who the session was for. Now it's an old friend of ours, old family friends from the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, and we go in there. I walk in there and I see a guy who looks like, just out of my head, looks like David Bowie, but it wouldn't make any sense. So I walk out of the studio because I'm not sure I'm in the right room, and the assistant engineer comes and grabs me and says, "Hey, Carmine, you're in this room here." I said, "Oh, okay." And so I saw goofing with the assistant engineer. Go, "Who's that big old David Bowie looking guy?"
You're kidding me. This is great.
Swear to God, no joke. He goes, "That's David Bowie." I said, "What?" I said, "What's he doing here?" He said, "Is he a friend of Niles or whatever?" I said, "No, you're working on a project with him." I said, "What project? With him?" And I went, "Holy shit." And I'm going, and my mind's racing because I saw the Diamond Dogs tour in '74 and the big stage White Light tour. And I've been a fan, since Ziggy started. I was going, this is not making sense. I mean, so I walked in the room. I don't know whether to curts or to wave or just stand away, because I don't know how to approach this guy who, for me, was like, king of kings.
Yeah.
A big fan of the Trilogy album and the weird shit with Robert Fripp and Adrian Ballou,
Sure.
our boy. I'm going, and he just looks with a big, beautiful smile with his cap on. He just walks right up to you, and I'm going, "Oh shit." In my mind, I'm going, "Oh shit, let me make sure I don't shit or pee right now." He puts his hand out, and she said, "Hey, welcome, Carmine. Welcome." He knew my name. He said, "Welcome. We're gonna be working on a couple of little ditties." I said, "Okay. I'm here for the day." So I'm going, "Wow." I says, and it's just whatever you said, it just didn't register. Going, "Are we really working with you today?" He said, "Yeah, we're gonna work on some demo stuff." I said, "Oh, okay." And as I pulled back, I see Omar coming. Omar came going. I said, "Well, what the?" And Omar he goes. I said, "Yeah." I said, "We're working for him." He says, "We are." So
We
nobody knew the session because it was private. It was something he wanted to try out. So we started working that day, and I really do think the first two songs were Modern Love and Let's Dance. And Let's Dance, Niles was showing us part of a bass groove, but it was like a repeated kind of a chic kind of a groove.
Mhm.
And I just heard it bigger. It stayed in B flat, it didn't go anywhere. I just heard the F sharp in it. I heard the 4 chord in it, and I heard the gap band, because that's what we were into at that point in time, me and Omar. So we played it, throw the bomb on me,
Right.
big stomp. And that's how we approached it. And I added those other bass lines, other notes to it. And it was really pretty naked, because you couldn't, I'm thinking of, station to station and, all those parts. But it was very naked, very raw, because it was just keyboards, guitar, drums, and bass. Stevie Ray didn't come till later on. And it was like, oh, the first day, and Modern Love was like a gospel revival kind of a thing.
Right.
We took it that way as a gospel revival. Wasn't sure that's what he wanted, but we took it that way anyway, and it worked.
I love
that night, I said, "Wow, this is cool. Hopefully they'll keep those tracks." I mean, wow, this is very cool. And he was easy to work with. And he says to me, "Can you come back tomorrow?" And I looked at Niles. I went, and Niles goes, "Yeah, come back tomorrow." I said, "Oh, okay," because I was only supposed to be there for one day.
Wow.
And so I came back the next day, and then we did China Girl and a couple other ones, I
Yeah.
was there for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday they were having other people come in. So figured hopefully a lot of those tracks will stay. So I go home and I get called Friday afternoon to come back because whoever they were working with that day, it didn't work out. So I came back to redo a track, and I just said I don't want to really hear. It was a song called "Criminal World," which was the last song I recorded. I don't want to hear what this other guy did, whoever it was, and who's on drums. He said Tony Thompson. I said, oh, well, we grew up together in Labelle. We're the old school guys, you know. I'll know his feeling in a minute. So he played the pattern, and I went, okay. And I heard kind of the song. Never really heard the song before. I was like, okay, this is, I'm hearing it like this. He said, play something original. I said, all right. So I went with Tony, the part, and the bass part worked great, but I wasn't sure it was going to be a keeper because I was trying to do like a Paul McCartney, Chris Squire kind of a thing, approach with a pick. And Bob Claymountain, God bless him, who's the engineer, who's the ex-bass player too, he was there engineering and getting the sounds, and he got it so quick. And in come Niall, he goes, oh shit. He said, I'm gonna have to change some of the parts. I said, oh, is it cool? He said, yeah. So they kept the bass line and then took out stuff and put it and added to the song.
Yeah.
I was really happy because the bass and drum dominated the track. And then they opened up Stevie Ray on it, who played great on it.
Unknown.
It's more stories, but that's just one of those things.
No, that's good.
January 1983, that's when we started cutting the record, the first week.
Yeah.
And then 4 weeks later, I was on tour with a band called Driving School. We were in Texas, and I got to hear Let's Dance
on the
radio. Because I didn't hear it with horns and guitar overdubs and all this other stuff going. Wow. I said, this is really very different.
Right.
Let's Dance, which is it was like let's go dance, like a boxing thing.
Right.
And it sounded majestic. That's huge going. Wow, only David could have figured out the concept of having an Albert King Hendrix kind of a player, Stevie Ray, the best of the both worlds.
Yeah.
Again, a dance track kind of about boxing.
Yeah, exactly. And then like a 40s jump blues horn.
Yeah, exactly. It was just the horn parts. And it was like all the parts work, and they just kept it real. It was so minimal, all the parts, that just left it as it was.
Yeah. It's great to hear this because that's a record for me. I think a lot of people, what happened was that song was so big, and I always go back and I say, but you know what? When it came out, that didn't sound like anything else in '83. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I still go, and even just not too long ago, I went back to thinking, wow, what a great production. Bob Claymountain. Just listen to stuff and have so many great memories of that day, of that week. And we did it in a week, and then it was overdose for horns. It was 3 weeks long, basically the whole thing. It was like really on a budget, and it was only 8 songs on there. Yeah, not a lot of songs in there. There's only a few songs, so it was really choice and pick whatever they wanted to do. But it was just one of those rare moments, and God bless, I was there, the right timing. The universe was in some sort of in order or whatever, and
sure.
Plant bass was coming, 40 years later, but I don't know.
Yeah, but the thing is, even then, and Bowie, he dabbled in vegetarian in the 70s and stuff. I'm sure the food was still good.
Yeah. He had an interesting palate too, because he would eat pretty much anything, try experimental. And it was, if I see him eating something that I would never approach, like monkey brain or something, I go try it out.
Right. Wow.
Which is like chewing on the Converses or something, monkey brain.
Okay.
A little bit chewy.
Pretty brutal.
But I know, but it was great touring because you never felt below him. Even though he had this great intellect as an artist, as a painter, as a casting director, because he really picked great people around him. Yeah. He was an awesome casting director. Yeah. It was just easy. It was really just like, are we in this together or something? It was really comfortable and easy. And the plus, which I have to before, the plus is Carlos Alama.
Oh, of course.
The plus, him and David worked so well together, and Carlos was the most awesome music director I've ever worked for, and learned a lot from him, which ended up for me schooling into being a music director myself. But the schooling was fantastic coming from him. It was I'm so grateful to be under that umbrella.
Well, no, and that's one of the great things too. You work with so many great guitarists, Carlos Alomar and Carlos Santana, Nile Rodgers, Jerry Leonard, Adrian Blue,
Yeah,
Earl Slick,
Errol Slick. Yeah, I know. So
Clapton,
it's a combination, and I'm a big Cream fan, so I saw them when I was a kid. But before they, it was the last tour in 68. So I
Wow.
saw them at the Garden, and it was really, it was, you had to, if you stood in front of Ginger Baker, that's all you only heard. So you move over, you stand in front of Clapton, and that's all you heard. So you had to go to get the Jack Bruce.
Right.
It wasn't great back then. But if you were that close, you had to really sit back and watch it.
That's
I
so
was
many.
a big fan, big huge fan. To this day.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm gonna always bug you that you got to write a book, man. Because one of the things I love about you, and again, we talked about someone's music on the road, is that, and people don't realize this, and I'm gonna do my part to tell anyone that will listen, that you come from fusion, rock, metal, blues, prog rock. You were into Chris Squire and Sly. You're into
Latin,
So-
right? Yeah, I come from the Latin school. Growing up, we had salsa and Latin merengues or whatever, and that versions with Stax and Motown as a kid. And AM radio back then, New York, you could hear Tito Puente and Frank Sinatra or Black Sabbath on the same station.
that's
So
you.
it was just music. It was just music.
That's you. That's you. And, well, I was going to end with Latin and say, and then it all comes together.
He was born in England, English accent, dark skinned because his family's from Fiji, from India and Fiji, and he was raised up in Spain. So he's a rock guitar player and he's a flamenco player.
It's great.
Yeah, and you can't get arrested with either one, but the flamenco playing, I just thought if I can mix world music, and the template I was using was Kashmir, Zeppelin. So once I heard Kashmir, I went, that means you could do anything. If you can mix the Arabic with the rock and find a way of it merging with the beats, just curving it a little bit, it's absolutely phenomenal. Because that song is majestic. Still, to this day, it's still pretty majestic. With the straight drums against it, against all the Arabic Indian lines. And that's why that's why I wanted to be in a project like that. And Marcus was a perfect guy to do that with. And and to this day, we still go back to it thinking, wow, it still sounds great. But secretly, right now, at this present time, in our lockdown, we're working on the second one.
Oh, fantastic.
A lot of special guests.
There you go.
Next level, volume 2, yeah, the next level, which is great.
That's great. Well, no, that's good to hear, because when I do these chats, it's cool to say, well, this happened, that happened. But right now is what I always want to, because I want people to really absorb that artists are living beings. You're doing it right now. And props to Chick, we were just talking about, till the last minute, the dude was doing music.
I want to leave out of here with stuff behind, memorable stuff that people can go to. I'm not a Jaco Pastores. I'm not those kind of bass players. I do what I do and I make it fit into the world I live in with the artists that I work for, and they allow me to expand their horizon. I'm cool with it because then I can help, because I have a lot of ideas when I work with different people like Joe Bonamassa.
Absolutely.
And I love expanding stuff. I love, if you give me like a straight chord, I'll go, do you want this? I'll give you 5 different ideas and you pick which one suits you. And if you're not afraid, you'll pick a lot of it.
Yeah.
And it shows you, I could tell, it'll show you fear of like, well, it might be too much. And then I'll know you're being selfish.
Right.
Because it's to help you look beautiful. Look at, because I'm a support guy. I like being behind it. Wherever I work with, play with, I'm the support guy to make you look good. So make you sound good, give you some ear candy so people go, wow, he sounds amazing. It's the foundation, because it takes a village to make that shit sound right.
It does.
But there's a rock thing, but I love the combination of world music, and I try to mix all my early roots.
All right. Wow. Carmine Rojas. Hey, I've got reverb on my voice. Let me just jump back over here. Incredible, right, folks? I mean, What a story! What a what a history! And you know, how do I come back to your comments? There we go. Um, Kind of a preview, but that was about almost 35 minutes of it. But captivating personality, man, and just a journeyman. He's been, you know, wow. I love that, as I mentioned in there somewhere. I love when someone has a story beyond the music journey where they've kind of seen some of the other side, and I'm biased, that's what I do. I'm a musician. I've toured for years and been in many different bands, but at some point I drifted into working for musicians. So I always love when someone has that story also, and they get it, and they get what it's like to drive the van and kind of do that whole thing, uh, um, working in the crew. So Carmine has some great stories there, of course, being a teenager, being on the crew down in Puerto Rico when he would visit. But wow, the Labelle stuff, which he's gonna do. We're gonna do another interview with him on the 12th, and I'll remind you all of that. Um, and that's gonna be um, just a deeper dive into the music side. But we'll talk a lot about working with Nona Hendrix, Patti LaBelle, just more of the unsung, uh, uh, I think, architects of rock and fusion and funk. Everyone knows those artists, but I think kind of acknowledging how much they altered rock. I was listening. Someone had a video on yesterday. I forget who it was, but it was making fun of '80s kind of contemporary rock, kind of like, I forget the band, but it was like a Michael Bolton sort of a thing, who also Carmine played with. But whatever band it was, it made me realize how the vocals in all those 80 bands was very soul influenced. If you think of just a lot of these rock bands, the vocals, there was an MOR sound or an AOR sound, they used to call it, right? Album oriented rock, kind of the softer rock tunes, not the hard rock, the metal stuff. But there's all these rock bands. And if you think about it, the influence was coming from soul, from Motown, from funk, but with a rock and roll thing, with that 80s chorus guitar and the heavy drums. So it's just funny looking back, and you can kind of identify. But Carmine, on that whole journey from the early 70s, and amazing guy, amazing musician. And if you go on his, I got a couple of things I was going to pull up to continue that journey. Let's do that together. Um, Carmine still very active, as you heard on the interview. He's doing. He goes and they get tested, and they do these, um, you know, do this stuff. He just did some stuff with Billy Gibbons and the ZZ Top guys. There he is, pretty recently, a couple years ago. Great promo shots. And but just by the way, it's his birthday today or yesterday. You know, but yeah, he just did this thing here a couple months ago. Morrison Hotel and Macy Gray, Billy Gibbons. So he's still very active. And Chippendales. Some 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 friend of his obviously dropped that in there. That's funny. Lockdown Chippendales. That's good. Uh, there we go. Posting positive messages as well as people posting the funny messages. Um, you know, oh, that's funny. So no, he stays activist. He stays humorous, but the music is always happening. Um, there's some great old shots though, and I invite you to, yeah, check out Carmine. Go down that rabbit hole. Check out the fro. Now that's a fro right there. That looks like, you know pick a year, right? That's like 1970. 3, 4, 5. Wow. That's the real deal. Neo Rican. Of course, he endorses all these basses. I think that's Stevie Salas. I think. Who is that? Does it? It doesn't say. Do you all know Stevie Salas? What a badass Stevie is. But look at that. That's 1988, and the dude looks, I think even a little younger now, but he looks, minus the afro. Look at that fro again with the great Nona Hendrix. Oh, and there's Ronnie Drayton in the background. Ronnie Drayton, who those of you that know the New York funk scene, we just um, we just gave tribute. It was just a 1 year that we lost Ronnie Drayton, the great Ronnie Drayton. You see him just obscured on the left side there. Um, and man, he was a dear friend too. Ronnie was just a sweet guy, and died too young. Man, cancer's fucked up. But Ronnie played, of course, with Nona for years and did some of her big hits. And he was with a great band called Defunct. Great band called Defunct. If you don't know that band and you're a funk fan, please. Chili Peppers are nice, but Fishbone is great, and all these bands are great. But go back to Defunct, fantastic group from New York, um, and that's with a T on the end, Defunkt. So there you go. So Carmine, he was on the scene, man. Played with everyone. Great shot. That's only a few years ago. And I was lucky enough to tour with him just once so far with the celebrating David Bowie about 3 years ago. There he is with the great Joe Bonamassa, and he's done, I think, 7 records with Joe. Been with Joe for a long time, about a decade. Uh, don't know who that is. Maybe that's Joe's drummer. But some amazing history, folks. So check it out. Go listen to his music and listen to Xeroq, who I mentioned, Ziroq. That's his band. That's the shit right there. That's the goatee you want. But dude turned his life around, as he said in the interview. He got rid of a lot of health issues, and the plant based thing does not look like mid 60s, man. He's doing great. I love what he said. I said, what's your workout regimen? And he said, I'm Puerto Rican, dude. Just Puerto Rican. Oh, there we go. So that's about 83, I guess. That's Bowie in the middle, Carmine on the left, and the great Carlos Alomar on guitar. What a shot. What a serious Moonlight tour. Uh, wow, that's Nona Hendrix again? That's the 70s, man. Check it out. The fro, the stash. That's classic, man. So one of our soldiers in funk and rock and everything. Oh, is that looks like Ronnie Wood sitting in with Bowie. Looks like Ronnie Wood saying something to Carlos, saying something to Carmine and Carlos on the left, and then Bowie. Great stuff, folks. Well, we always try to celebrate not only the food and the journey, but these people who have brought us such joy, and I love when it intersects. This is obviously downstairs at the garden or something, and they're getting into the van, and as you always hear about Bowie, he was happy to goof around and have a fun time. So cool. So that gives you a little bit of that. I wanted to spend some time also with a couple uh, of the things he touched base on. Defunct it. Defunct it. Okay. No, I thought it was defunct. I may be wrong though. I've never heard that. Clearly he's drinking blood. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing. The opposite of blood, right? He's drinking chlorophyll, which we know is almost chlorophyll and hemoglobin, almost the same chemical structure. Thank you, Jerome. That was Stevie Salas, wasn't it? Thanks, bro. Thanks for getting my back on that. I thought it was, man. God, I haven't seen Stevie either, and jeez, that's the thing. Moving away from New York, you would meet these folks and get to know them and see them play in small clubs. What a wonderful guy, Stevie Salas, another one that deserves so much more spotlight. Played with everyone. You probably played with him too, Jerome. Uh, yeah. Let's see. Okay, we got some good comments in the YouTube. Um, Great interview. Thank you. That was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Well, easy to talk to him. I love when I do interviews with people I don't know, which I did Friday with Henry Kaiser a little bit. It was him and Andy West because it keeps me on my toes. But I'm very fortunate in these 30 years to have worked with and met with so many people. So it's very relaxed. We're just having a chat. Sometimes I got to focus and say, get some questions going here, dumbass. Don't just talk about. But thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. People like that have so many incredible stories that I just got to get out of the way, which is hard for me sometimes. Let's see. Other things. Billy Martin, yeah. Glenn Hughes, Billy Martin. You're just mentioning other great players. That is that who Jerome played? Jerome, you're saying that Carmine played with Glenn Hughes and Billy Martin. No, you're just saying other great bass players, other musicians. My Gearhead show. No, my Gearhead show is coming up. In fact, let me do some plugs. Uh, Wednesday night. Well, let me come back to the food in a second. Wednesday night. I always forget this part. This is where I need, what do you call it? A chiron, the thing uh, that goes along the bottom. So here's, a lot of you are with me on Instagram or Twitter. I really appreciate that. But that's where you can find me: social media, Guitar Tour, and guitartour.net. So here's what we got coming up. Wednesday night, 2 nights from now, my first episode of The Gear Spotlight. It's a show I do for Make Weird Music. And I will have the one and only Adam Holtzman. So you'll get some notices about that tonight, I'm sure. But Adam Holtzman, Wednesday night, we're gonna just chat, and it's all about the gear, the equipment, with a focus on that, and then of course talking about the music. Adam Holtzman, many of you know that name. If you don't, he hit the scene with Miles Davis in the '80s. That was one of his first major artists. But then worked with Chaka Khan and Grover Washington and Wayne Shorter. He had his own band called The Fence, very well known band in L.A. Cult popular fusion band, The Fence, Fents. And he played in the Mahavishnu Project, right? Greg Bendian's New York-based band. He was keyboard player in there for years. But for a decade now, he's well known around planet Earth as the keyboard player of Steven Wilson Band. And so he's going to be here Wednesday night talking about the new Steven Wilson Group album, talking about his new album that's coming out, and talking about equipment and what does he use and what does he, uh, will he be sitting in his studio and demonstrating some stuff and taking your questions live. So that's Wednesday night, 6 p.m. live. And if you're on my socials, you'll get a notice about it. Friday night, um, let's see, is it this Friday night? No, it's a week from Friday night, so 26th. I've got Carmine Rojas again, but with Zach Alford. The two of them, both Bowie alumni. It's funny, they didn't play together at the same time. They finally did some Bowie music together years later in a tribute thing called Celebrating David Bowie. But they're going to be on the 26th, talking about creativity, talking about their long tail of artists. You just heard the list of Carmine's groups, but Zach Alford plays with everyone too. Many years with Bowie, the B-52s. He's got Billy Joel, just a long resume also. That's all around your record collection. So thanks for reminding me. I always forget to bring that up. So let's see. Um, okay, okay, great. Oh yeah, yeah. Thank you, Jerome. Yes, Glenn Hughes. Yes, Billy Martin are examples of soul-influenced singers from the '80s metal bands. Yeah, yeah. Um, what band was Billy Martin again? Again, I forget. What was that band? Not Extreme. No, no. It's right tip of my tongue. But yeah, I know that singer. Um, um, Wednesday night, 6 p.m. is the webcast. Okay, so is the Gear webcast this Wednesday night, the 17th. So jumping back, I just wanted to hit a couple of the just to celebrate the explosion of plant-based food. Here's a place that Carmine considers one of his favorites. Look at that, folks. Man, I love Italian food, and I love that it's very easy to do plant-based. Look at that, some greens, a couple of types of sauces there. Obviously, using some Parmesan. That's you know, nutritional yeast. I mean, it's really easy to do. Actually, that's what's amazing. Cashew mozzarella. And before someone says, "Well, I like the real thing," you got to understand that when you actually study food history, the real thing is everything, right? So now we just have a choice. We can pick something that's environmentally and sustainably somewhere else on the scale or not. But the fact is, I'm serious. When you study food history, and I'm an amateur at it, but I read a lot about what they were eating around the world, in South America, where I'm from, in ancient Africa, the ancient Aztecs, the ancient Asian diet, Buddhism, how early on Buddhism changed the course of coming up with some of these alternatives to animal flesh. Over in Europe, how many things that were impacted by the weather, by the seasonal thing, where they had to come up with a way to replace flesh foods or dairy because it was very, very impacted by the seasons. And likewise, plant-based stuff very influenced by the seasons. So they developed all around the world, not just Europe. They developed all around the world methods of pickling and salting and preserving things. So you go any part of the world, whether it's Africa or Brazil or Japan or China or the American indigenous people found a way to dry their foods, to pickle their foods, to maintain some kind of response to the seasons. So anyway, I just say that to remind people that none of these ideas are brand new. They are a variety of things. So anyway, pura vida, and I'll put that link if we ever can go to restaurants again in Los Angeles, then you have that. But they're open. They're doing catering. It looks like, and they're doing pickups and stuff like that. So I will drop that in the chat. Carmine rocks, Benny. I know you've seen him like everywhere. Benny, you're one of the few people who know Jeff Golub, right? You probably used to go see him, right, with his own band. But Carmine uh, played a lot with Jeff Golub. Okay, so that's the one I wanted to give you. Um, let's see the other one. He also mentioned this place. Wow, this place looks great. I tell you, LA, the food game in LA is astounding, folks. As you know, any kind of food. But look at this, amazing. And that's the thing too. We got to move away from this notion that you know, that it's boring, that it's carrot sticks or something. Not at all. And this place is this an organic? It might be just an organic place. I don't know if it's 100% vegetarian, but largely so. Mushroom and chestnut tortellini. So this again, this is LA, so these are going to be $16 plates here. But be that as it may, I'm not saying uh, we would all go eat here, but you could make this, right? You braise some Brussels sprouts. People are scared of Brussels sprouts. Just get them, man. Bake them, braise them, drizzle some olive oil. These are done with some nice charred chickpeas and stuff. What's this one? Pizza bianca al funghi. So that's a white and mushroom pizza, and I don't know if it's cashew mozzarella or milk mozzarella, but king oyster mushroom calamari. That's great. So again, all of these are plant based, but I think these guys have some organic. Uh, yeah, just beautiful salads, beautiful ideas. Spätzle with porcini mushrooms. So spätzle, I think, might be like a pork thing, but as you're seeing, it's mostly a a a plant based. So that's smoked beet, huh? Looks like it's a steak sort of thing. That's what they're going for, actually. So okay, look at that though. That's probably $27, right? Hey, there's different levels for everything, and I respect it. I don't eat at these places often. Corn tortellini, but as you know, I'm a cheerleader for the fact that it's exploding. Grilled abalone mushrooms. So this is a plant-based place. Fennel confit. Beautiful. So this is a really skilled chef here, or team of chefs. Tagliatelle bolognese. That's the thing. They can do all this stuff now with, Beyond Beef. You got the ground meat kind of substitutes. There's really no dish that you can't, um, that you can't capture the textures. And this is cool. They obviously do some donations to the homeless and whatnot. So that's very cool. So I'll share that, just in case someone is in LA. And what I find too, I just get inspired by some of these. I look at restaurant stuff all the time, and just for inspiration. Uh, that's the wrong page. Let's see. Um, Here we go. Let's put that one there. What did you eat today, folks? You can always put that in there. We don't hear that enough from everyone. What was your meatless Monday? Okay, and then I got one more I was going to show. Um, this looks like a wonderful place too. So Carmine was saying this is like his favorite one. And again, I'm not in LA, but one day I will again. But just very inspiring. So they're doing patio service starting. Well, they did 2 weeks ago. So that's the thing. Some of these places are able to do take takeaway and that kind of thing. But some of them are opening up a little bit, which I don't know how great that is on some levels. But what can you do, right? Without without the full support of finances, these places are struggling. So here we go. This looks. I like this, man. This is my jam because this is like comfort food, vegan. Look at that. A savory pot pie. That's my jam right there. I love a good pot pie. Mm. Look at that. Looks like a huge pie too. Winter ramen. Nice miso broth kind of soup. And root vegetable au gratin. Portobello. Again, not cheap. LA prices, but you know, that's a hearty meal though. It's a real deal. French onion soup. Look at that. A vegan French onion soup. Olive oil, gluten-free croutons, and the cashew cheese. Mm. I love French onion soup, and I've made it many times vegan. So you could see very rich, fantastic cuisine. Here's the cauliflower steak. Some people get upset that that we use those words, steak or things like that. But just call it baked cauliflower, right? Everyone's happy. Mushroom bordelaise. So you got the picture. Another wonderful set of options, folks. My intention is inspiration. You know, um, just be if this inspires you to kind of say, I want to try to make that. You know, so so okay. Let's see. So what did you have today? I had a wonderful soup. Um, see any comments? Okay, Daniel. Oh, I see. So you're saying as you were in the audience in Madison Square Garden. Got you. Was anyone else nerding out and geeking out and saying that guy was in Nectar also? So he was in Nectar by then, by '83. Okay, I lose track of when he did that, but um, awesome. So we looked at the Sun Cafe. I think we covered all the bases there on some links, but oh, I love this when it goes infinite. The are we gonna take off into outer space now? Uh, uh, yeah. So, all right, folks, I'm gonna wrap up. Um, a couple previews there, as I said. Um, Wednesday night on Make Weird Music on the YouTube's page of Make Weird Music. I'll announce this. So, if you if you if you're on my Facebook, then you'll find out. Um, and the social media is this. So that's my Twitter, that's my Instagram, and I will announce these coming up. I'll announce them later today. Um, Wednesday night, 17th, Adam Holtzman, 6 p.m. live on YouTube and with Q&A, and it's the first episode of my Gear Spotlight show, which is on Make Weird Music. That's the channel I've been doing interviews on. We've got the Alex Lifeson interview, folks. If you haven't seen that, please take a look. That interview is somewhere in the 100,000 zone. I'm very, very proud of that. How it has kind of taken off. Um, so Wednesday night we've got uh, Adam Holtzman. In about 10 days, on the 26th, it's going to be an interview with Carmine Rojas again and Zach Alford, but talking about music. And then I've got a bunch of stuff on my Patreon, which I invite you to check out. Um, that'd be awesome if you did. The I think I put the Patreon link in there. Yeah, I did, but I'll do that again because it helps me out, and I always forget to help me out. But Patreon is this. It's been around for several years. It's new to me. I'm finding out about it. Here's my Patreon page, folks. For the cost of a Starbucks extra soy latte or something, or a beer, you can uh, uh, once a month support this artist and be part of my weekly creations. You'll be part of my weekly streaming. I'm doing acoustic streaming every Sunday, and another electric and experimental guitar and effects workshop. So at the $5 level, you get that. Plus, you get my weekly couple times a week my posts that only go to my patrons. You get access to download my albums that'll be on Bandcamp. There's a few. There's one up there now, and a couple coming soon. By the end of this month, I'll have a couple other albums. So for just $5 a month, you get all of that, and then for $10, a bunch of other features, including what I'm doing tomorrow night, which is the YouTube live concert hangout, where we hang out like this, watch a live concert that I've been involved in, whether it's Emerson Lake and Palmer's final gig, or my band, Project Object, with people like Napoleon Murphy Brock, Tom Fowler, Ike Willis, Ray White, Don Preston, whether it's tours I've done with Adrian Belew, which is what we're going to watch tomorrow night. We're going to watch one of his epic made for German TV concerts, and we're going to just have fun chatting with it. We'll all be there on Zoom so we can see each other. Um, so there's a lot of fun stuff if you care to check it out. And then finally, for those of you here, because you're here because of food, I've got a $25 a month tier that includes a lot of stuff. You get all the stuff I just mentioned, all the music stuff, all the access to my performances and workshops and tutorials and discussions. Um, but also, right after this show, every Monday at 6 o'clock, we're going to do a closed kind of a just a group meeting on Zoom where we zoom in, talk about food, talk about nutrition, talk about um, building your immunity, talk about optimizing, eating on a budget, eating healthy, eating natural on a budget, talk about growing your own food, talk about composting, talk about natural skin products, natural products for the home, the whole spectrum, whatever people want to get into. Also on personal stuff, I've helped people with all kinds of situations. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, but I'm someone with nearly 20 years of natural foods retail, and being able to at least point people to a direction in doing some research on their own and working with their doctor, their chiropractor, their naturopath, their acupuncturist, whatever. I can help with just putting a plan together. So all of that comes at that level in Patreon. The meetings once a week here, the one-on-one contact that we can establish where I can help you out directly, and then also a live food prep that I'll be doing once a month, where we focus on a different cuisine from around the world and do a live food prep um, for about 90 minutes of live on camera, watching the food be prepared and Q&A and stuff like that. Unfortunately, no way to taste it through the internet. And then there's also a whole vegan on the road special that people at that level have access to. So there you have it. That's my plug. I don't do that enough. I know. I forget to plug my own shit. But here we go. Um, the mushrooms are kicking in, Kurt. Okay, you took some mushrooms because I didn't. But that's great. So there's a few things there, folks, and you know, thank you so much. People have asked, well, how can we donate? What can we do? There you go. I now have it in one spot. Patreon. Yeah, and if you just want to do a 1 month thing and say, yeah, I'm kind of broke too, but here's $5, that's awesome too. You can just do that there and drop me a line. Um, all right, I think I've hit all the questions. Let's make sure. Um, let's see. Gear Talk. Yeah, Psych for Gear Talk. Awesome. Yes, Mr. Big. Thank you, Jerome. I was like, what's that band? What's that? Billy Sheehan, right? Um, uh, Pura Vita is in Los Angeles, bro. All three of those are in LA where Carmine lives. And yes, roasted. Oh, Spetzel is a pasta. Right, right. Yeah, because that word means wheat. Right, right. Thank you. Thank you, both of you. And grilling is awesome. Yes, exactly. And yeah, and grilling some of these cheeses, and today there's so many amazing cheeses that cashew based and almond based, soy based. Uh, um, Actually, soy is the one you don't see as much, but these are some amazing cheeses though that melt, that have the mouth feel, that have the whole thing. Here's something that Robin was preparing. She takes the Violife, okay, Violife feta, which is um, the Violife feta cheese, which is and you bake it. She does it with vegetables. I don't have the after picture, but you bake it and it melts, and you have this incredible kind of Italian style, French style sauce. Um, um, anyway, more food pictures coming. Um, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. California Guitar Trio. I think we might have postponed that from tomorrow, but they're coming up soon. Okay, folks, I'm gonna jump off and yes, Ben, I didn't even talk about next week enough. I did mention this earlier. You might not have been on, but yeah, thanks for reminding me. Uh, I gave you a shout out for as being a bass player, keyboard player, yogi, raw foods enthusiast. But that's right. 1 week from today, we will have the rest of the um, the Carmine Rojas interview. There's a bit more and some wonderful stuff he talks about. What a great, what a great interview and so positive, uh, and so much history. But so next week, a week from today, Monday, February 22nd, right here on the Meatless Show, it's Bass Player Day, plant-based bass player. It just kind of came that way. But we'll have the rest of the Carmine Rojas interview. We got my dear pal Ben Davis, who was we were in bands together. Really, the first serious band I was in, um, Rhythm Method, in about 1984. He was in, and he's been plant based for decades. And we're gonna come on. He's gonna come on and talk about that journey, talk about some recipes. Ben has been doing some incredible cooking and sends me all the pictures. So we have this cool thing. We trade pictures of wonderful food. So Benjamin's gonna be on. So you got Carmine Rojas virtually. Carmine's always in the studio Monday, so he couldn't do it live. But he said, "Man, I'd love to do your show, but can we tape it?" I said, "Yeah, that's perfect, bro." So so that's why we did him on a delay. But so next week, Carmine, Ben Davis, Antar Goodwin, who also we've been in bands together, and he's been plant based for 20 some years also, and just added real time Jerome Parker Wells, who I don't some in my mind I thought we were on stage together on some jam, but I might be, the 80s New Brunswick just swirls in my head. Either way, I've enjoyed seeing this man play many times, all kinds of different bands, mostly Machine Gun, but a couple other projects. But wonderful bass player, stick player, um, and he's a world traveler. He's lived in many different countries. So we're gonna have plant-based bass, plant bass. There we go. That's what we'll call it. Plant BASS. Plant based next week. And just let me see if there's a cool picture I could show you here. But otherwise, folks, just keep taking care of yourself. And I will share one or two other wonderful little food. This was a nice, just a very macro dish we had the other day. Robin did these just wheat meat kind of things, these wheat based not ribs, in their barbecue. And it's chickpea flour and wheat flour. They were pretty good. I don't do that much wheat, so I only had a little bit, but they were awesome and the chewiness and the barbecue. And then she pickled red onions from scratch, so we had that. And then that wonderful cabbage dish. I love simple dishes like that where you just have two or three things, and you know it's not too crazy. And um, I love Thai food with all kinds of stuff happening, but I love when it's very simple. A couple pickles, a bit of tempeh. That makes me happy. Um, and let's see, since we're doing food, folks, you should post food pictures also in the chat. That's always welcome because people say all the time they've been inspired to to cook something. Like here's the guy that's on next week, Ben Davis. Here's his lemon zucchini noodles. Let's get that focused. Okay. Wow. There we go. Look at that, huh? artichoke hearts, pumpkin seeds, hemp seeds, noodles made from zucchini. Um, Folks, this does not have to be boring. I think a couple months being part of this show, you know that. Doesn't have to be boring. It never would be. Here's a dish that we did here: tempeh with a around the side, just kind of grilled tempeh with a cabbage pea curry in the middle. A little lonely habanero at the top there. Beautiful. You can do this at home. This is a dish that if that's $5 worth of food, I'm amazed because tempeh is you know $3 or $4 for what is that, a you know 18 ounces or something. It's very cheap making stuff yourself. So that's what I champion here. So yeah, New Brunswick, exactly, Rutgers. So anyway, folks, that's what we're gonna do next week. We're gonna have a lot of fun, and I really appreciate you all. Meg, I really appreciate you stopping by, my friend. And best of luck with anyone that works at a club, that owns a club. Man, I talking to a lot of my friends in that part of the music business. So Meg, hopefully uh, you're hanging in there. Scott's hanging in there, and hopefully the Saint um, figures some pathway out of this. All right, folks, I'm out of here. Signing off. We will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Couldn't do this without you. Really, much love, and thanks for being part of my first show at age 56. A little bit of gray hair. I've had this for 25 years, and um, I lost track. I'm going to try to calculate, but I think it's my 30th show. Let's call it that. I couldn't get it exact, but mind blown. Could not do it without you and your encouragement. And most of all, what gets me, really excited about this and filled with gratitude is watching so many people get in touch with me and say, I tried that recipe, or we tried that, or I tried to cook lentil soup for the first time, or my daughter's vegetarian and we're cooking together now, or on the extreme level, I have one family member who changed some of her health. She was having heart issues and some cholesterol and other issues, turned it around, partially encouraged by all this. So that's what makes it for me. Just one person saying, you know, this isn't hard and it's not crazy. It's not like, and it's not boring. All these cliches, that's what I'm here to do. Break down the cliches. And I love the feedback. So thank you. Have a great week, and we'll see you. Next thing is Wednesday night with Adam Holtzman, or tomorrow night for my Patreon folks. See you soon.